This week, Dave and I are doing something a little bit different. I know I say that every week, but this week we are doing something different. David, what car are we in?
We are in a Volvo XC40, smallish SUV, but it is a plug-in electric vehicle.
I am not at all sure, David, about these looks. I think it's a little bit too chunky, a little bit too Jeep-esque, and it gets to here, this little kink up, I don't get this at all. I don't know why it just doesn't come along like this.
The wheels, I like the look of them. I think they're a good design, but of course you're getting low-profile tyres, which will be reflected in your ride.
And there's options for bigger wheels.
You can go up to 20. I think you might even get 21-inch. It's a plug-in hybrid. So a normal hybrid is basically a petrol engine that's helped along by an electric one. The plug-in allows you to charge the battery at a cheaper rate than petrol, one would hope, and then use it around the city mainly on batteries. But then the petrol engine can come in particularly to be a range extender.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just noticed that we've gone 20 or 30 kilometres now, and it had a 40-kilometre range, and it used that up ages ago because we had air conditioning on and so forth. So that's not perhaps quite the range that you would expect or hope for, but it would still do your city commute. David, I can't get the electric port open. David, where's the electric port? I can't get it open.
That's the petrol one, Alan. The electric is, like most things, on the other side.
You know that the side that this is on is marked on your fuel gauge, don't you? Most people don't know that. I finally found the electric port for charging. Rather unsophisticated compared to the likes of Tesla and so forth, but then this is about a quarter of the price of a Tesla. What do you think of this rear end?
I quite like that. Those lights aren't too bad. They're not as vertical as the Mitsubishi. Do you remember the Mitsubishi Pajero?
Sport.
But this, I think, is its most significant point. It bubbles out just a little bit, but I think that gives it a little bit distinctive look.
And this, of course, is a small SUV, which means it has a rear hatch, which opens like so. Now, it is an electric rear hatch.
It is the small, but not the smallest category, and of course it has a space saver as well.
I prefer a space saver over a tyre repair kit.
You notice it has no hybrid technology in there. All of it is under the bonnet. It squeezes it all in.
I think we should have a look at that. What do you think?
Yes.
The front of the car is where the technology lives. There's a 3-cylinder engine. What's the capacity on that?
1.5 litres, and it runs at 132 kilowatts. It's turboed, and about 265 newton metres.
Right. And the electric engine, what's
an extra 60 kilowatts.
60 kilowatts, that's quite respectable.
Yeah, whether you get all of it added together at once, I don't think it quite feels as though...
No hybrid ever does. This is quite spacious getting in the back. There's a couple of little... I'll just get in. Hold on a sec. And that was so much easier than the cars last week, I've got to tell you. There are a couple of little cubby holes. I can't imagine what those are before. Up here on the door, there's a nice little treatment. There's a speaker and just some speaker look grille. This really beautiful, that's beautifully finished aluminium, this door handle. At least I assume it's aluminium, it feels like it. And a lovely felt insert. And a nice big bin. Some rear vents, a power socket, and seat heating for the outer 2 rear seats. There's also some lovely contrast stitching. And this Alcantara leather is absolutely gorgeous. Best bit is, from the front there's a button that will lower these headrests so the driver can see. That's a very Volvo thing. I think this looks absolutely smashing. There isn't anything I really don't like, though. It is black on black with just a touch of black.
What do you think of the vertical nature of the vents?
I love that. I think that looks absolutely smashing. And it feels quality. Everything feels quality. There's a digital dash, which I particularly like. But the gear selector is very odd. There's no unlock button. You just move it forward and backwards. So two for drive and then another one for regenerative braking. There's the brake hold button and the electric parking brake, and then park is just this single button there. There's a wireless charger here in front, a USB outlet, another power outlet, which is good, and some very simple radio controls. This kind of doubles as a lot of things, including volume control, but the portrait nature of this is we found this very difficult to use. There isn't a home screen as such. This is the nearest thing you'll get. You swipe the system just like you would in a mobile phone. Oddly, the temperature sync only comes up when you select temperature change, which is really strange. Other functions, including safety functions, can be fettled in this menu, and you also get access to the automated parking, and you can even change the radar cruise control into normal cruise control. And there's a sunroof up there. Not a very big opening. The actual opening is only this front bit. Now I've got my seatbelt on. When I put my foot on the accelerator, the handbrake or the parking brake will release, and you'll notice we're in complete silence. Because this has now used up all its charge that you stored overnight, when I put my foot down, the engine chops and changes between electric, petrol, electric. Now David, tell me about the transmission. This, unlike most other hybrids and electric cars, this has a proper transmission.
A 7-speed dual clutch system.
Now the thing that I notice about the ride, David, is it's very firm.
As we were saying, it is an issue of having large diameter rims, which make for low profile tyres.
I noticed that the steering is, it's not sharp. I mean, it just has no feel whatsoever. But I'm okay with that. And in fact, I feel quite disconnected from the car.
You're no longer driving a car with engagement, you're merely controlling a machine.
Yeah, I feel like I'm just pointing it in a direction.
I found the same with the brakes. It took a while to get used to the nature of the brakes.
Yeah, I agree. But you know what it reminds me of? One of those very early Citroen DS's. The brake only had about 5mm worth of movement.
Travel.
Like I'm pushing that down now, and it feels like it's hardly moved. It feels like it's not moved 10mm.
They're big, a nice big disc, and as you would expect in a modern car. I mean, it handles well, it copes, it's very competent in what it does. It's just that it's now much more a machine than something that you might naturally have an affinity with.
Now, what about the safety gear, David? What safety gear have we got on board?
Oh, it's got the full range of it, as you would expect from a Volvo, including things like automatic emergency braking, which you now need to get a 5-star rating. But you've got to understand, and this is good, it has the good features that it will detect cars, pedestrians, large animals, cyclists, and I'm not sure of cyclists at night.
But does it have lane control? Because I understand that it does, but I can't feel it.
Yes, well, you've got to ask whether it's turned on.
Oh. So it's got all of that stuff which you can turn on and off. And I know that various friends of ours would like to turn all of that stuff off all of the time. We're not mentioning his name, are we?
No, I don't want to offend Rob.
No, I wouldn't want to offend Rob. We've got, as you said, the Space Saver spare tyre.
And a massive airbags, as you would expect. And
I hope so. It's a Volvo. Visibility is quite good. I mean, you know, again, there's nice big mirrors outside, and you don't really have to worry so much about looking over your shoulder anymore, because of course this has blind spot monitor. So if you do happen to miss something that's in your blind spot, the monitoring system won't allow you to actually change lanes into oncoming traffic or traffic behind you. David, we like the hybrid system. It's unusual. It certainly does its job. It's comfortable to drive, but the suspension is too firm. The steering has no feeling, but that's okay. The infotainment system is very difficult to use. Do you think you'd get used to that? as you own it? I'm not sure you would.
It means
Also, I think you'd always go looking for things.
it means that you just can't get used to it as you go. You have to spend time, and some companies like BMW will take you through it when you buy the car, but then invite you back in a month and say, now that you got used to some of the simple things, here are a few of the others that you can do, because to learn it all at once is overpowering.
If you've liked the and film, please leave a comment, hit like, and above all, where are we going to put the like? The
We've got
subscribe.
room up over there.
I think we can put it just here.